Sometimes on Halloween you just want a nice night in with a video game or movie. This is a list of things that I have personally watched or played that are spooky, creepy, gory and otherwise strange. These aren't necessarily the best video games or the best horror movies, they're just ones that I've enjoyed playing and had fun watching. I'm going to try and miss out some things that are really popular and everyone's heard of, like The Shining or Silent Hill or Resident Evil. So if you don't see them on this list, that's because I'm trying to avoid them, okay? Don't have a go at me by saying, you're not a real gamer. I hope we've got that all straightened out. Yes, there will be some popular things on this. Yes, there will be some unknown things on this, but it's just things that I liked and have played. Some things I haven't had the time to watch or play, but you know, life. So yes, there will be unheard of games and movies, there will be very popular games and movies, but these are just ones that I personally enjoyed, personally liked. Maybe you won't like them, maybe you think they're shit, but hey ho, let's go. First thing I'm going to recommend is actually a pretty new game. It was just released on the 10th of September on Steam, and it's free to play, so why not try it out? This isn't sponsored, but if you'd like to sponsor me, feel free. The Devil's Womb, developed by Insane Cat Studios, was released, as I said, on the 10th of September on Steam, and the first chapter is there to play for free. It's very much stylized in the same way as anime, PC, click-and-point puzzle adventure horror games. And it is hard. It's not just a simple game where you just get a fright or two. It's actually really challenging, which is what I enjoy with these puzzle games. I'm still playing it, by the way. I haven't completed the first chapter, but this is how much I liked it. You play as Luna, a girl who was admitted into a psychiatric ward after her parents discovered that she was having conversations with the devil, and she's currently about to be released as you start the game. I also like to add, just as we're on this section of the gameplay that I recorded, I really like the character design, I really like the artwork. Like I said, it isn't an anime game, it's not drawn in an anime style, but I've not seen this kind of cartoonish drawing style before. I really like it. Even Demon Luna is cute. The atmosphere is really, really spooky, it's very eerie, it doesn't rely on just casual frights and just jump scares. Those can get really old really quick, especially if you know they're going to happen, but this game does a really good job of the psychological part. It has parts where you think something's going to happen, but it doesn't, and then it's got you guessing, and I just like it. It's a really good game, the atmosphere stays with the music and the graphics, and I think you should all give it a try. The next game I'm going to recommend is The Evil Within, and yes, this was popularised. Markiplier played it, and there was a sequel that did quite well. Some people didn't like the protagonist, some people didn't like the antagonist, some people thought that the story was soppy and weird and boring, but I quite liked it, I didn't mind it at all. While it does have quite a few jump scares, I don't think it wholly relies on that as a game. If you look at the atmosphere, even in the hospital, in a place that looks relatively normal, we know as the player that it is not normal. And when you go to the outside world, there are a diverse range of sceneries for you to go through. There's the graveyard, there's the strange undertunnels, there's the castle. It's not all just in one place, and there are parts of it in direct sunlight with essentially zombies coming at you, which is interesting because we always associate zombies with being in the night and creeping around woods. I actually quite like Sebastian, although the down and out alcoholic cop isn't exactly the most original idea. I didn't mind him. In fact, I kind of felt sorry for him. He only went to work to do his job and he ended up in this. Julie Kidman is quite honestly my hero. How she's managing to run around in heels and manage to kill zombies is beyond me. She's quite the woman. And I really like in the DLC, when you go through and play as her, you get to learn more about her. I quite like the psychological part, as I like psychological horror. I like the fact that there is a lot of references to psychology and learning about psychology and the mind. I quite like when they try and mix sci-fi with horror. That's my jam. The beginning is a little bit slow because poor Sebastian's leg just gets ruined, but it manages to pick up, and can I just say that Reborn Laura is my nightmare. I hate her. She is what I see when I will go to hell. There are a range of different character models when it comes to the antagonists specifically. You won't just get one average zombie, you'll get many different types, and even doggo zombies. Doggo zombies. I didn't mind the gameplay at all. I found it quite easy to navigate, even though I am #noob when it comes to horror video games. You should just give it a go. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But personally, I quite enjoyed it and I have played it many times. Another game that I've enjoyed playing is Corpse Party. This again, similar to The Devil's Womb, has a lot of puzzles in it, things to explore, things to figure out, and it is very, very gory. The music is so eerie, and there are many different ways in which you can lose the game. Corpse Party was followed up by a sequel, Corpse Party Book of Shadows, as well as Blood Drive and Dead Patient have also been released. I like these games a lot because, again, the eerie music, the strange puzzle-making things that you have to do, and as well as the story. There is a lot of story when it comes to Corpse Party. There is an anime OVA of Corpse Party that you can watch that's full of gore aplenty, very creepy, and is a perfect little watch for your Halloween night in. Definitely give the game and the anime a go. I don't think you'll be displeased if gore's your thing. I don't think you'll be displeased if really creepy things are your thing. Although avoid if you don't like small, scary children. Another series that is quite popular and is a franchise with 3 games to its name is Dead Space. What more could you want with zombies in space? It has a cohesive story that I enjoyed very much. People die. I don't know if you could tell that by the title. And there is a level of uncertainty as to what's real and what's not, and you'll discover this throughout the game. You play as Isaac and you will go through the story trying to find out what happened on a ship in space. Oddly enough, as you go in, you'll discover that an alien parasite has taken over every single crew member on the ship, and they all want to kill you now. There's also some strange, slightly off-putting religious aspects to this game, with a cult of people who believe that the aliens are the next step in God's plan for humanity. They really, really like the space zombies. You disagree. I myself was pretty impressed by the graphics and the animation for a game when it came out when it did. I really enjoyed the gameplay. I didn't find it hard to pick up. I liked the antagonists, although some of them, you'll learn which ones, can burn in hell. As with many horror games, yes, there are jump scares, but I think they're used sparingly enough that it doesn't become overbearing and you're not like, oh, another jump scare. I like the soundtrack and how, while there are violins in there, it's not always the stereotypical creepy violin. In fact, they use the nursery rhyme Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and make it very, very unsettling. You also have to deal with the physics of being in space, and there are different mechanics and things that you have to work with because of that. It's a very unique take on the horror survival game, in my opinion, although a lot of people have said Alien Isolation was way better. Just for what it is, I think it's a good game.
Man has a choice. I chose the impossible.
How could I not mention Bioshock? Because Bioshock is a city underwater, with strange vampiric little girls and big daddies. You'll understand what that means if you've not played the game before. And let's be fair, it is a possibly really popular game. It has 3 games to its name, Bioshock, Bioshock 2 and Bioshock Infinite. But the original Bioshock, the mechanics are so great. I like the fact that you have the plasmids and the different abilities that you can kind of use as you wish. It's quite customizable in that way. I actually really love the story and the themes that are based in philosophy and economics, and the whole idea of, do we actually have free will? That is what Bioshock heavily relies upon and tries to teach the player throughout the game. Do we actually have free will? And it has one of the biggest twists I have seen in a game. I felt betrayed. I felt hurt on the inside very deeply. whether or not you have free will and if the choices you make are morally good or bad. These are great ideas to put in a video game, and you don't even feel like you're questioning it until you finish the game and you realise it again mixes the sci-fi with the horror, and again, my jam. I love it. I love it so much. Even got a bit of psychology in there, philosophy. You really can't miss it with Bioshock. It's pretty much got everything you could ever need. It's got the atmosphere. Except for cats. It mixes its lighting. There are times where it's very bright and vibrant, and other times where it's very grim and dark. And that's exactly what horror games need, because I feel like we rely far too much on the dark, and we think that the light is safe. The light is never safe. That's where the bad things happen. There are so many different video games that I could recommend to you, but these are the handful that I've picked that I could play again and again, and I really enjoy them. And some of them are just good to chill out. They've got quite easy gameplay. You don't have to worry about sitting still and hold a controller, or you might die if you move it just an inch. So yeah, they're quite basic in when it comes to the actual gameplay, but what I find with these games are the atmosphere, the music, what content it has, perhaps with the story. Those are the things that draw me in. I have played other games like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Until Dawn, things like that. I just decided I wanted to give these games an extra special thank you for making these very much. When's the next Bioshock coming out? Please. Moving on to TV and films, here is an anime. Yes, I'm a weeb. Elfen Lied is a really interesting and gory anime, to say the least. If you enjoyed Stranger Things, hello, this is partly the inspiration for it. The story begins with Lucy, a Diclonius, which is an evolved form of a human being, escaping from the research facility which she's been held in. Being a Diclonius means that she has telekinetic powers, much like Eleven in Stranger Things. The music in this anime is absolutely beautiful. I really enjoyed a lot of the visuals, the animation, especially when it came to the gore. That's hard to animate, and I think anyone who's interested in sci-fi and gore would be very much interested in watching this anime in particular. But it is very gory. Another anime that you may enjoy is known as Another. Yeah, it's called Another. It's not just another anime, it's Another anime. It focuses on the cursed class in a Japanese school wherein an extra student is in the class, but that extra student is dead. And you have to find out who the extra student is, or your classmates are going to start dying in order to make up for the lack of balance between life and death. While this is a very gory anime, it also has a lot of suspense and mystery and trying to figure out who is the real dead one. And you have to watch as these classmates turn upon each other to try and find out. I would definitely give this TV series a go. While not a horror movie, Return to Oz is most definitely strange, at the very least, and slightly disturbing at the worst. Dorothy returns home from Oz and tells her aunt and uncle about her adventures, so they decide to take her to a doctor because, what the heck, Dorothy? What are you talking about? It is a very strange movie, including electrotherapy, which is horrible in itself, and you should definitely be scared of it. Just as Dorothy is about to receive her treatment, she is freed from her restraints, and she ends up back in Oz, and she meets the woodsman and the cowardly lion. I don't know if the therapy might have been beneficial in this case or not. However, when they go back to the Emerald City, they see everybody has been turned into stone, and she meets a princess who collects heads. Heads. You're beginning to see why this is a little bit disturbing. As a child, I distinctly remember the head part. That stuck with me. What do you think about The Wizard of Oz? Well, I remember the sequel where someone collected heads. That stuck with me. It's definitely a bit of a weird watch at the very least, even if it's not horror, so who knows, maybe it can creep you out too. Whoever says that Coraline isn't a horror movie is a filthy, filthy liar. Shit is terrifying. I mean, have you seen The Other Mother? She is a spider woman. A spider woman. Okay, let's reel back. Coraline is a girl who's just moved to a new home and she's feeling bored and neglected by her parents. She dreams of a place where she gets what she wants and her parents pay attention to her. However, things become very dark very quickly. Coraline has become ridiculously popular, and I understand why. Look at it. Just look at it. The first thing I have to say is, this is a stop-motion movie. This was done tiny millimetre by tiny millimetre of a puppet moving, and it takes meticulous amount of time and effort to get it right. I like the fact that it is timeless for both adults and children, and I think it definitely gives the right warning of be careful what you wish for. It's very creepy, it's definitely a movie that doesn't rely on jump scares, and it just took so much work to make that I just appreciate it. If you have a Netflix account, they might have your back on some documentaries that you might want to watch. Making a Murderer, The Forensic Files, they actually have a good selection of documentaries. Abducted in Plain Sight is possibly the strangest crime documentary I've ever seen in my life. If you're familiar with the case of Ted Bundy, then they have the Ted Bundy tapes. Even good old sensitive YouTube who likes censoring out certain words and phrases because they're offensive, enjoy a good bit of murder. I'll link a lot of them in the description, but here is one on Fred and Rose West, which I've watched many times. They have Most Evil, which is a TV series that goes through many different serial killers from across the world. They also have a good array of conspiracy theory videos, alien videos, ghost videos, those kinds of things, so I will link some in the description below. So there you have it, my recommendations for the spooky, the scary and the downright strange on Halloween. So tuck yourselves in, make a cup of tea and play a good spooky horror game. Or just watch a crime documentary, that's also valid as well.